Well, hello, and thank you for joining me for another ITY video. I'm here today with Cheryl Mack, the head of StartCon. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So I thought I'd just ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and a bit about the history of StartCon.
Yeah, absolutely. So myself personally, I moved to Sydney, Australia two and a half years ago. I moved here from Vancouver, Canada. I've always worked in the startup life, and I've always cared very much about startups and helping startups. So when I came here and I started working for Freelancer.com, and Freelancer ended up acquiring StartCon. Actually, at the time, it was SidStart. So SidStart itself was started in 2010 by someone named Pete Cooper. And at the time, it was, a couple hundred people. It was just like, hey, let's get together and see if anybody, wants to talk about what they're doing in the startup world right now.
And try and help other people who are in the same position.
Exactly. And there was just such a huge demand that it grew so quickly. And by 2014, Pete Cooper, who did start it, when you're just a one-man show, it had grown a little bit too big for what he could handle. And so Freelancer took over. And when that happened, our CEO, Matt, Freelancer.com, reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to get involved in running this? And so that's how I kind of became, over the last 2 years, the head of StartCon.
Sure, fantastic. So what's the theme of this year's conference? And, what were some of the challenges involved in, over the last couple of years of your, running it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the theme for this year is kind of a fun one. I think it's very in line with what's happening in the industry right now. So the theme is Bonfire of the Unicorns, how to survive and thrive in any economic environment. So I think anyone who's read any news article in the tech industry recently, has seen that there is this issue of unicorns not being able to exit. And there's $700 billion worth of unicorns who aren't able to find exits. There are startups going through down rounds. Investors are pulling back money. You combine that with uncertainty in the global stock markets, and you're just looking at a really tough time for startups to raise money. And so what investors are looking at now and what startups should try to be is more like the cockroach. And maybe you don't like that analogy, but the fact remains that to survive and thrive in any economic environment, you want to sell something useful to customers, and you want to be able to grow without needing to raise tons and tons of capital. And that's what this year's theme and conference is all about.
And what's the definition of cockroach again?
So Cockroach is a startup that can survive and thrive and can survive any economic environment.
Yeah, like cockroaches surviving the nuclear apocalypse.
Exactly, right? If there was a nuclear apocalypse, those cockroaches are the ones that would survive.
Sure.
They stick around.
Yeah. And I'm guessing, I can't be the first person to think of this, but all those unicorns that are stuck, they must all be stuck at the pointy end.
They are, yes. That's exactly right.
So who are some of the big names and companies at the conference that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, absolutely. So Andrew Chen, growth at Uber. He not just growth at Uber. This man has written over 700 essays on things like the viral loop, law of shitty click-throughs. He is probably he is the smartest geek in Silicon Valley, and we are so excited to have him here. He's just next level. I had the pleasure of interviewing or talking to him the other night. Elena Verna from SurveyMonkey, she's the SVP of growth at SurveyMonkey. I think we can all agree SurveyMonkey has had incredible growth, and it's just, it's fantastic. Again, one of those just super next level or high level people that's really interesting to talk to and hear from. So she'll be speaking tomorrow. And then obviously Jason Cruzen from NASA. I think it's amazing that we have someone from NASA out here to speak, and to be able to talk about what it's like to be entrepreneurial in the space industry. Yeah, just some tough ones there.
Excellent. So what are your top messages for startups in a nutshell?
Yeah, so I think try not to get too hung up on your valuation. That's kind of a vanity metric that doesn't really determine whether you succeed or fail. What determines whether you succeed or fail is listening to your customers, being able to actually sell something to them that they want, retention, perfecting your product, getting your core value right, finding what your aha moment is. Those are the things that help you succeed, not having a huge valuation. So I think try to step away from that. I think a lot of startups already are, but it's just a good message to
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, we're at the conference. We're at Royal Randwick in Sydney, and this is day one, and it's probably a bit too late for people to come for tomorrow. I don't know if people can still buy tickets, but how do people watch the conference after the event is over? What's the deal there?
So you can actually watch it live right now. You can watch every talk live from the main stage, and myself emceeing. You can just go to startcon.com, and there is the ability to buy a live stream digital pass. Now, if you and it's like $100. It's really it's not too restrictive.
99 actually.
97.
97. Well, there you go. 97. Okay.
So jump on online, grab a digital pass. But
and this will be available, for the next few weeks or.
One of the things that we're also doing is recording every talk. So we live stream the main stage, but we actually have 4 stages that we are recording all of the content from, and we're going to put that all online afterwards. So that will be part of the $99 that you'll get access to everything.
Yeah. Excellent. So it just means that if people want to share the message and share a session they saw, they just get the digital pass and off you go.
Exactly.
Excellent. So where do you think you'll hold StartCon in 2017?
I mean, look, Randwick is such a beautiful location. I mean, this is the kind of place you want to spend a day at, talking to people, like hanging out on the expo floor, getting food. It's
networking. There's big parties afterwards as well.
Yeah, there's parties here. It is such a beautiful location, and we are kind of spoiled. There's free parking, which is hard to find in the city. Yeah. So look, I think everything's on the table. We definitely are going to do it again at a really cool venue, whether it's here or closer to the city. I think we'll evaluate that later. But yeah, honestly, we love Randwick. It's a great place.
Excellent. And any thoughts on how StartCon might look in 5 or 10 years, or is that too far into the future to be?
Not at all. So one of the reasons that we did rename the conference from SidStart to StartCon this year was because we do have huge ambitions for what this conference can be. So if you think about what Comic-Con is, I think in 10, 20 years from now, I think we could be the Comic-Con of startups. The huge event that is the event for startups to go to. That's what I think I'd love to take this event to be. And at the same time, as we grow, the mission will still be the same. Help startups become global sustainable businesses. And that mission will never change no matter how big we get.
There should never be a finish to startups.
Absolutely.
So one question I always like to ask as we get towards the end of the interview is just if you could please share the best piece of advice you've ever received to help you get where you are today.
Yeah, the best piece of advice that I have ever received, I've received a lot of advice, honestly. I think a lot of things that I've learned over the years is really to just go for it. Like, one of the things that I live by is the world is yours, and if you want something, you can do it, and it's up to you to go get it. So I think just whoever told me that, I think it might have been my family at a young age, that it's yours, go get it if you want it, and you can make it happen. So I think that's
excellent. Thank you. So do you have any final messages for IT Wire viewers and readers, for future startups and for future attendees to StartCon?
Absolutely, come out. Honestly, there's a lot of talk around, should we go to this conference? Should we do this? Should we do that? If you haven't experienced it once, I think you definitely should. It's such an amazing experience, and without fail, I get people coming up to me all day long, all year long, even after the conference ends, saying, this happened to me here. I had a guy tell me he launched his product the morning of SidStart, was StartCon last year. He launched the morning of and gained his first 10 corporate customers within the day. Like, that's amazing.
Incredible. Yeah.
Right? One guy, told me that he raised his first $1 million from the guy that he met at StartCon. Like, those are the stories I love. Like, you never know what's going to happen, and we put a lot of effort into bringing amazing people here. So come out for at least one, and I think you'll be really impressed with what you see.
As they say, you got to be in it to win it.
Exactly, right?
All right, Cheryl Mack, thank you very much. Best of luck with the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
And hope to talk to you again soon.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.